Hello and welcome to the Black Market webinar. I would like to thank you all for taking the time to join us today. My name is Marianne and I'm an account rep and field technician at SellerCloud. Today we have with us both Arthur and Sergey from Black Market. They'll be discussing the benefits of selling on Back Market and how to get it up and running in SellerCloud. Throughout the webinar, please submit your questions, and at the end of the presentation, the Back Market team will answer some of them. Now I'll turn it over to Arthur and Sergey to introduce themselves.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Serge Verdu. I'm the Managing Director for the US for Back Market.
Hi, I'm Arthur Delanoy. I'm in charge of all the sellers on the platform for the US market.
And we're both based in New York, in Brooklyn, New York. So thanks, Marianne, for having us, and for the entire SellerCloud team for the help and support getting up there. Back Market, for those of you who may not have heard about us, we're the first, and as far as we know, largest marketplace dedicated to used and professionally refurbished electronics. The company was born in Europe less than 4 years ago, and has really managed to generate amazing success this year, which is only our fourth year since we were created. We're going to generate around 300 million in sales. Our growth is tremendous. We should reach $1 billion in sales in the next 18 months or so. And all of that is from sellers like you who specialize in used and refurbished electronics. So the idea of the call today is to let you know that if you're using SellerCloud, selling on Back Market is a very easy proposition and can literally happen in 1 to 2 hours. Including everything set up on Back Market and the help of SellerCloud. So that's really something you should do. You can see here the main stats, about 80,000 orders per month on the platform. We're getting close to our millionth customer this year, 9 million sessions. And I think the last point is very important since most of you folks are based in the US. We just raised $48 million specifically to fund the acceleration of our US presence, which means a lot of investment in tools and support, but also, and more importantly, I think for you, in marketing. The demand is tremendous. We're growing our traffic. We have the traffic in the US grows by more than 200% every month. And what that means is that we lack the supply, we lack the products to fill this demand. So that's why if you join us now, you'll be able to do business right away and very soon. Why are we special and why are we successful? Well, because we believe that a refurbished product cannot be sold like a new one. So we've designed a user experience both for the end consumer and the sellers like you, which is really dedicated and that really meets your need. What does it look like? And by the way, that's why we're winning against Amazon and eBay in the markets where we're mature. To give you some sense, in Europe, where we started, we generate 5 to 10 times more than those platforms in the refurbished category. The reason for this success is that we make it very easy for consumers to buy a refurbished product, and more importantly, to understand what they're buying. If you're looking at this screen, you see that for one particular product, we took an actual listing from a few days ago. If you see so that's an iPhone 7, as you can see, 128 gigs. For one particular product, you see at the bottom, we have 5 main aesthetic conditions that we've defined. And the idea is really to organize this market. There's a lot of humor, and we're a consumer company, and I'll show you a couple of examples later. But so we've created some grades, what may seem a little bit dry in the industry, but we've given you the equivalent A, B, C, D. We've really turned it into shiny, which is frankly a product which is as good as new, like an A+, all the way down to Stallone, in reference to the famous actor Sylvester Stallone, who gets beat up after a fight in Rocky. And you have the few interims. And so for one particular, there's a price that the consumer really sees, okay, if they want the brand new, like new product, they go with shiny, and that's going to be more expensive. But then if they're willing to compromise with the aesthetic, they can choose something a little bit more damage and less expensive. And also you see the description under that gold very clearly what they're getting for that price and that condition. And that's what really makes it unique. Customers know what they're buying, and so there are far less returns than on other marketplaces where they may buy new, they may buy used, they may buy refurbished, but they don't know exactly because the platform hasn't been built around that, and also they sell across multiple types of devices. One more thing that's important, and I think is very important to you. One of the specificities of back market is that for one particular product, in that example, that iPhone 6s in that kind of storage and color, and one particular aesthetic rating, we only push one seller. So in that case, Koala Stash is the seller that has the BUYBOX. And so what that does is that allows you as a seller, once you get that BUYBOX, to get all the traffic that we're generating toward this particular product. So that means you're able to sell much more quickly the products that you have. Then the other big difference versus other marketplaces is that price is not the only consideration for getting the BUYBOX. Far from it. We track about 15 quality indicators from the rate of defective products to the number of returns because of wrong kind of grading, to the delays in shipment or the kind of customer service issues that may come up, so that we can push those of you who make the best job at managing quality of the experience, which again is the quality of the product itself, of course, but also the quality of the customer service that the customers receive. And so what that means is that if you do well on all of these dimensions, you actually don't have to have the lowest price to get the BUYBOX. You can get all this traffic and sell products at a much higher price than you would on other marketplaces where price is the biggest filter that people use. So I think very important to understand our success. So we're marketing specialists. We take care of educating consumers. What we're doing is make the pie bigger. I think what you may see is that there is a kind of an established market today for used and refurbished electronics in the US, but it's kind of plateaued because you have a certain set of consumers that know that they want to buy used and refurbished. They're willing to take a bet on quality because of that lower price, but that pie is not growing anymore. And our role at Back Market is really to make that pie grow by bringing more people who have not thought about buying used or refurbished before because they're worried about the quality. And so we make them much clearer on, we make them comfortable in going with a refurbished product. So we take care of that consumer education. So we'll show you a couple of videos that show how we do the marketing, how we educate the customers, and how we make that pie grow bigger. By the way, I'll just use that time to remind you that you can ask questions, and we'll certainly take questions at the end of the presentation. So, what you see here is an example of what I was talking about when I talk about marketing effort and pushing the category. As I'm sure most of you know, Apple, when they launch a new product, a new iPhone, they tend to discontinue the products from about 3 years before, 3 generations before. And in the case of the product this year, they actually discontinued the iPhone 6s, which happens to be one of the best sellers that Apple ever had in their iPhone line. But it's certainly on Back Market was the most popular, and as I'm sure those of you who do a business in the smartphone business know it's really popular for used phones. So what we decided to do is to relaunch the iPhone 6s because we thought it deserves to be continued. And that's the marketing campaign that we did. So I'll just play the movie now. Okay, apparently the sound wasn't the best, so we apologize for that, but there was a music playing in the background. So that video that we created, and you probably recognize some of the Apple aesthetics, and it's kind of half serious, half parody, and that's kind of the tone that we always like to play with, actually. And it helped us get a lot of exposure. We got in the US, we got CNET, who wrote an article about that. We got Tom's Guide, we got VentureBeat, a lot of very well-known publications with tens, if not hundreds of millions of visitors looked at it and said, oh, these guys have a point. The Success is a great product and it should not be discontinued. And they also like the video. And that's how we create more traction and a bigger audience. Another thing we do is that we partner with manufacturers directly to promote their refurbished lines and certified pre-owned line. In fact, in Europe, we have a co-exclusivity with Amazon where the only online B2C company that's certified by Apple to sell certified pre-owned products, which in Europe, Apple doesn't sell directly to consumers. And you know, that kind of model is one that we may see in the US very soon, and that we actually are going to announce with companies like De Vialet. You may have heard about these. They're super high-end speakers, $2,000 all to $3,000 new. And De Vialet is kind of an avant-premiere here that I'm telling you. We're releasing that in the next day or two. De Vialet is actually selling on Back Market a line of refurbished products that's refurbished in the same factories as the new ones, and they're going to be given 2-year warranty as a new product. They're going to come in the original speakerphone. And what you're looking at now is just the special store that we've created for De Vialet to really showcase not only that product, but the fact that we're giving it as refurbished and certified pre-owned, the same quality, the exact same quality as a new product. And that's, you know, all of these have been developed by our marketing team, of course, working very closely with the De Vialet team to make sure that it sells their value and their product lines as they would want to. What you see here is the kind of bass movement. This is pretty, for those of you who are interested in sound, it's pretty amazing. The sound is really good, and it feels like the speaker is leaving. And here all the way down, and you can buy it at the end for $1,900 refurbished. So that's the kind of thing we're able to do because, again, we have the marketing clout, not only in terms of dollars and acquisition, but also in terms of skills. With that, I'll go back to the main presentation. So why we're market leader, again, certainly the markets where we're mature. We already work with quite a few partners, and you can see here a few brands that we're working with. I was talking about Apple. Dyson is another one that's going to come up soon. And so we're looking for more sellers. As I said, the demand is booming. We need products. We need you. There's a huge opportunity. Few numbers about the US. I'm sure most of you are interested in those metrics. US started 6 months ago, back in the spring, and we're doing fantastically. We're 10 times as big as our markets in Europe were at the same stage of development. And you know, I've showed you what the global numbers are looking like 3 years after launch. Already 12,000 orders generated, 400,000 sessions a month. That was in September, and booming now, 200% growth. Some targets for the rest of the year: 3.2 million sessions, 12 million in sales. And that's just for Q4. Next year is going to be massive as well. So now is a great time to join. We got covered. You see a couple of articles here. Even before that iPhone 6s relaunch, we got a lot of attention from Forbes and other great newspapers, and a lot of marketing activities that are in the pipe that are going to help promote the refurbished segment and promote you when you join Back Market. So join now, it's the right time. We have sellers doing up to 100 sales a day already. We have more than 200 categories to be open. There's a very low risk because, as I said, it's very clear what customers are buying, so lowest return rates that you can think about. I didn't talk that much about categories. I mean, I showed you a couple of things on phones and speakers, but what are the top ones that are doing really well were smartphones, laptops, tablets, certainly our top selling categories today. But our plan is really to be an Amazon for refurbished products. And so TVs, consoles, kitchen appliances, cameras, I mean, any kind of electronics products or home appliances products that you can think about are great for back market. We have that expertise in our more mature markets. We have all of these in high quantity, and we sell high quantities of these. I'll end with a special SellerCloud offer. If you come from our very good friends and partners at SellerCloud, we'll waive the registration fees and subscription fees. You'll only pay 10%. So it's all variable. If you don't sell anything, you won't pay anything. So hence the very low risk. And, you know, that covers payment costs and that covers fraud. So it's really, at the end of the day, very painless for you. And again, purely variable. We also have, if you join back market, you can also benefit from all the network of partners that we've built, whether it's of course SellerCloud, but some logistics and customer service partners that we've built. So, for instance, if you were to only do B2B today and were interested in tipping your toes in B2C, but don't have a way to do drop shipping quite yet, or don't have a team to handle customer service yet, we have some partnerships. We sometimes fulfill some of these ourselves in some of our markets. I'm thinking about customer service in Europe. So don't hesitate to reach out, ask us, and we can help you do that without you having to really invest in new processes and new teams. And the last thing I'll say before opening up to Q&A is that we're very definitely interested, and there's a big short-term opportunity in the US. But just so you know, we already have about 40 sellers live in the US, and a few of them have already crossed the Atlantic and are selling in back market Europe because they love the model and they want to take advantage of our huge base of established customers over there. And that's something you can do as well. If you start with us, we can also help you, reach all of our customer base in all the different markets. With that, should we open for Q&A? And here, as we start reading the questions, you can see where to contact Arthur and I by email or phone, and we can hook you up on back market.
So is this just for the US or is it Canada as well?
So today we only sell in the US, but Canada and other markets, Latin America for that matter, are planned for next year. But today we only sell in the US. But that doesn't mean that if you are based in Canada and are able to accommodate US customers, you should definitely join us.
Can people sell like non-branded items?
Main brands are top sellers. I mean, one thing we do is that we convert people from buying new to buying refurbished. To be fair, what sells better in new, which is top brands, tend to sell even better in refurbished because people are after good deals. That being said, you can definitely sell non-top brand products. We don't have a rule. You can certainly list them.
Is this specifically for refurbished or for used products as well?
So that's a great question because we specialize in professionally refurbished products. What we mean by that is that the products have to be at the very least thoroughly tested. They have to be 100% functional. Can be damaged. They have to. As a seller, you have to offer a minimum of 6 months warranty for anything that's being sold on back market, and that's what those are the big restrictions. The reason we do that is, again, to create the reassurance. We want customers, when they buy on back market, to know, and there's also a 30-day return period, no questions asked. We want consumers to not worry about buying on back market and know that if something goes wrong, they can return the product. Just to be clear, for the 30 days is no question asked. After 30 days and before the end of the warranty period, which is 6 months minimum, it's really for defective. So the product has to be defective for the seller to have to change it or repair it. There's a question on APIs. Yes, we have. You can connect through SellerCloud, of course. That's why we're having the presentation today. But if you're interested in having deeper integration, we offer an API integration. There's a documentation that we can share with you, and good developers have integrated in less than a week.
What shipping options do you support for buyers?
So the shipping options, the question is about the shipping options that we support. It's really up to the seller to, so something to clarify if need be, really the drop shipping, the fulfillment of the order is really handled by the sellers directly. So what we send is a confirmed and paid order with an address, the details that are needed to fulfill the order. You as a seller would fulfill the order. In back market, you have the possibility to really customize and create as many shipping options as possible. Our sellers tend to have 3, but again, it's not a rule. They tend to offer a free option, which tends to be standard shipping, and then they tend to offer either a 2-day option or an overnight option. And you can set up a price differently for each of these options, as well as by product category based on the weight.
Who handles the returns?
The customer contact back market, so they contact the sellers through back market, but you would be, as a seller, managing the returns, and really, if there needs to be an exchange, facilitate the exchange, or if there's some, during the warranty period, if there's a repair to be made or an exchange or refund, you handle that, but you handle all of that through back market through a very easy integration. We actually now are able to do it through SellerCloud as well. So it's very painless for you if you already do that through SellerCloud on other marketplaces.
Are there any restrictions, or is there like an application process for certain brands, or a restriction against certain brands to be sold?
No. I mean, of course, the products have to be, legitimate, and they have to be in working conditions, but we don't have any special brand or restrictions per se.
Okay. Now, someone wants to know how many products are listed on Back Market.
We have about, I'm looking at Arthur, how many product categories do we have total? We have about 300 product categories, so product families. We have tens of thousands of different SKUs.
Okay, and what content do they need to provide for a listing?
For those of you who list through SellerCloud on other marketplaces, it's you won't need to provide anything else. We are in the process of building custom plugins so that you can provide the feeds directly from SellerCloud to us. For those of you who are not yet, it's really very basic. I mean, for smartphones in particular, a lot of our sellers, literally, they only send us the SKU, the title, the SKU and the name of the product. So as long as we're able to make out what the product is, typically, of course, the brand, so iPhone, 6S, the storage, the color, the aesthetic conditions, and then our algorithms are able to determine and to match them to the right product ID. So it's really, think about it as the minimal information for us to make sure we list the right product on back market.
What is the regular subscription and registration cost?
So again, for SellerCloud, for people coming referred by SellerCloud, it's no subscription fee, no registration fee. It's really only a 10% variable commission that includes payment fees and that includes fraud management, which we take care of. And so you don't have to worry about any chargebacks.
Does Back Market have its own customer service?
We do, because again, it's what we do is really we want to make sure we create a great user experience. So the first touch point that customers have through the platform is the sellers, but we stay in touch at all levels, and we're here to assist the customers if they need us, and they can reach us by phone, by email, or by messaging through the platform.
So just to confirm, if they want to list an item, it has to be in good working condition, but doesn't have to officially be refurbished?
Exactly. So it has to be 100% functional. So, everything has to work. The microphone, the camera, the battery has to be at least 80% of its original capacity. So it's fully functional. The aesthetic state can be, somewhat damaged. There's a guideline. We don't take all the aesthetic issues, but it's really about when we say refurbished, it's mostly thoroughly tested, and it has to, and the seller really has to back up with a 6 months warranty, which is the biggest for us, the biggest sign of quality that we see. We can share more details as to as you join Back Market, we have what we call a quality charter that you adhere to, where we can provide more details on what exact tests we need to be made. I mean, we ask you which tests you're making, but it's really about being 100% functional at the end of the day. Think about it as a consumer buys it, and they have to expect the same experience as a new product, except for the aesthetic.
Does each seller have their own listing, or do you have shared listings?
So that's the BUYBOX mechanism that I was talking about. So if multiple sellers sell the same product, we only are showing one listing to the end customer. And we believe that actually one of the key to our success is that we make it very easy for customers. We choose on behalf of the customers, so the customers don't have to think. But it's also a benefit for the sellers, because once you get that exposure, once you get that BUYBOX, then all of the volume that you can sell is much higher.
When does Back Market settle the funds with the buyers?
So two ways. If through PayPal, you get paid directly by PayPal the next day or two after the transaction. If through credit cards, we use the payment provider called Adyen to settle, and it's done every 10 days on the 6th, the 16th, and the 26th of each month.
And you're an approved Apple seller, correct?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. You want to know who gets the BUYBOX price? What's it based off of? Okay, so it's a combination of, we use price, of course, but there are about 15 quality indicators. Some of them are around the product itself. So what's the defective rate of those, the products sold by that seller? What's the errors in grading? And then there's also a few of them around, about 10 that are around the customer service. Do they respond to customer requests on time? Do they resolve the customer request in a positive manner, et cetera, et cetera. And so our BUYBOX, our algorithm, uses those 15 indicators, price plus about 14 of quality, to determine who's the best seller on a particular product. Maybe time for one last question.
Someone wants to know if you ship worldwide. So
it's the question is whether we ship worldwide. So again, the sellers are doing the shipping. Our customers today are in the US and in 5 European markets: France, Germany, Spain, Italy, and Belgium. So to the extent that you are able to ship in these markets, we can help you reach all of our audience in all of these markets. And looks like that may have been our last question. So thank you again, SellerCloud. Thanks, Marianne.
Thank you guys for coming in today, and thank you guys for joining us on the webinar.